Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
PD Beats here from Popternative, speaking to Baylee Littrell about Family Legacy, which is premiering Tuesday, April 25th on Paramount Plus. Welcome to the show, man. Thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
I mean, this is so exciting. I mean, you know, in terms of like your first kind of introduction to this project, even before it kind of being official and everything, like, how did you find out about it? Was this kind of Paramount Plus coming to your, like at MTV coming to your team? Did you find out about it from your parents? Like what was the kind of first taste of this project from? I'm just curious about that.
Man, first taste of this project was, I think it was last summer. MTV had reached out to us about this project, and I was so excited. I was so stoked, just because the opportunity to get to do something like that, and it be MTV, you know, and it'd be about my dad's legacy. It's the coolest thing. I mean, there's no better, you know, people to talk to, you know, about my dad's history than MTV. So I was, you know, beyond excited for that.
100%. I do find it really interesting because, you know, you follow your dad's footstep with music, but not necessarily with the genre of music specifically, because you kind of dived into country music, and your music is excellent, by the way. But I'm just curious, like, I find that very interesting, right? Because, you know, the Backstreet Boys were known for a lot of their pop music and everything. So it makes me think, did the Backstreet Boys listen to a lot of country music, like on the road? Because there were some times where you were on the road with your dad a lot. I'm just curious where the country music interest came from.
I would say my dad's interest in country music, you know, kind of came from, you know, growing up in Kentucky a little bit, but I think it started to grow when he started working with Florida Georgia Line. That's when it really started to blossom. He got into the Nashville music scene in 2016, 2017. You know, Florida Georgia Line came to the boys, and, you know, they told him, they're like, you know, we grew up listening to y'all's music. Shame to say it, we want y'all on a song. Kind of how that started. And then the boys were really into the Nashville scene. You know, at one point they even thought about making a country record.
I saw
because they loved it so much.
I saw discussions about that. Yeah, but you know, even go back. I mean, like, you have to understand, like, I'm a 91, but my sister's an 87, right? So, I mean, my sister's first concert was seeing your dad. You know what I mean? Like, that was like Backstreet Boys was her first concert and everything. They always talked about their love of different genres of music. Like, I've always seen that in their interviews, which which I find is always the coolest thing, because same with me, like, I listen to so many kind of genres. Like, I don't really have a limit, you know what I mean? Which is awesome. But I do find it also interesting as well, because, you know, MTV kind of approaches you for this project about, you know, the legacy of your father and everything. Is there one kind of, what's like the first kind of story or kind of timeline of like memories that come to mind right away? Because there's so many, right? But like, what was the one where you're like, MTV, we have to talk about this? Was there one kind of in mind?
I think it's pretty, I'm going to say 2008, 2009. I think it was the This Is Us tour. My dad and the boys, their opening scene to their, you know, tour or show at the time was a boxing ring on stage. And they would get in these, you know, their warm-up robes, and I forgot, we had fire. It had happened, like, it was, you know, with a ironing board or something with one of the robes, so we had to get new robes for the whole, you know, for all the boys. And so they had the old robes over to the side, and I crashed my dad's dressing room. I just walked right in, and I grabbed one of these robes and I put it on. And it was one of the burnt ones, so, you know, they weren't wearing them. And I was like, "Hey, Dad, I think I want to be the sixth Backstreet Boy. You know, I want. Oh, wait, this is before Kev was back. I was like, hey, you know, can I be the fifth Backstreet Boy? You know, do you think this will work?" And Dad goes, he just puts his hands on my shoulders, and I was standing in front of a mirror, and he looks up in the mirror, and he's like, one day you're gonna have your shot.
Yeah.
And I was like, really? And he's like, yeah. And that moment stuck with me forever, because I just remember, you know, all I knew is what my dad was doing. It didn't seem different to me. I didn't have any other perspective, you know?
Yeah.
Your dad, everything you dreamt of, and say, hey, for the stars, there's nothing you can't do. You're like, that's the green light.
Yeah,
That's
it's
all
just
you
kind of
need
like
to
your
keep
dad
going,
did this. Wow, that's so cool. You're like, yeah, that's how that's my dad. Yeah.
Told him, and I feel like I don't tell him enough. And that's another thing, MTV, and and I talked about is I'm so proud of him. I'm so
Yeah.
proud of everything he's been able to accomplish. And I told him, I said, he's an inspiration, to me. What he's been able to do, what he's been able to build is exactly what I want to,
Absolutely.
myself.
Totally. And
Yeah.
if you said this, you'd be a little biased. So I'm saying this. Petey Beats is saying this,
Yeah.
okay? Your dad is in the greatest boy band of all time. I'm putting the number
Absolutely.
one. I'm putting the
Absolutely.
number one. There's
No debate. No debate.
There's no contest.
Yeah.
I'm not discrediting other boy bands because there's some incredible boy bands, but Backstreet Boys are always going to be number one, and there's nothing they can do about it.
I don't want to hear. That's what I tell my friends. That's what I tell everyone. I'm like, you want to challenge it? I'm sorry. I love Donnie Wahlberg. I love New Kids. I love them all, but Backstreet Boys reign supreme, baby.
It's interesting too. It's interesting too, very quickly, because Backstreet Boys were also at a time where music videos were really blossoming into their own thing, with like being like movies and everything. Everybody is probably one of the greatest music videos of all time. I love that so much. Okay, yeah. I mean, like, you were not born when that came out, but like, I'm still never like, is it crazy to kind of look back at all the things, not just the songs, but the music videos and, all that? Like, there's just a catalog of so many things, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was so lucky growing up with all of that. Like, I not only had the great music, but I had the great videos, because like you said, that's the time. That was the pinnacle of music videos.
Yep.
And that's what we need to get back to.
Oh yeah.
I love the artsy clips, and I love the shorts and stuff like that. But we need some high quality, good music videos again.
Oh yeah.
And that's something I got used to growing up. I'll never forget. Like, I used to watch everybody all the time, just because Dad turning into a werewolf I thought was the coolest thing I'd ever seen in my life.
I go back and watch that video on YouTube, all like that music video. I'm telling you, man, like I love that music video. It's so cinematic.
The other night I was driving to a buddy's house, and I was flipping through channels on the radio, and I'm going through. I love 70s music, so I'm listening to like 70s rock, and there's the 80s channel, and then it says 90s, and I'm thinking, wouldn't this be hilarious if they're playing Backstreet Boys? I hit it, everybody's playing, I start jamming out. I'm like, it's the coolest thing in the world, just to hear your dad just be flipping through stations. And
do you have
he's on 3 of them.
Do you have a favorite Backstreet Boys song of all time, or is that hard? Man,
you know what? I feel like I used to say Larger Than Life so much, just because.
That's my favorite.
Yeah, I love that guitar solo. Oh, I love that guitar solo.
And again, sorry, that MTV, that music video is so cool.
it gives me chills. It gives me absolute chills. I love it.
Last question before we wrap up. Like I said before we started this interview, if they go to popturnup.com, we have a really cool Q&A feature about your music and everything as well that's available right now. We did months ago. And in that interview, I asked you about, advice that your father gave you about the music industry and the music career and everything. Times are obviously kind of changing in the music industry with streaming and, different areas to kind of promote music and everything. What advice have you given your dad about the music industry these days? Have you kind of talked to him about certain things, about like social media and TikTok? I'm just curious the other way around.
You know what? I think we have. I know that that was a hard curve.
Yeah.
Me getting into Nashville, and at the time we didn't have TikTok right at the beginning. So how you were doing things was going to radio stations, shaking hands, recording with the right people. It was a certain step that you took to get to everything. So when TikTok boomed and came along, it changed country.
Yeah.
And I would say things are starting with the security risks and things that are going on TikTok. It's starting to, slow back down, thankfully.
Yeah, but also like not just TikTok, like streaming and everything. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's something he's even taught me about, because we're in the same boat as to where he used to sell records and now it's streams, and he's got these billions of streams, and my friends see those plaques on the walls. They don't pay attention to the records, that they have all these gorgeous records. I'll be like, boys, this is what you need to be looking at. And they're like, no, look at the, 4 billion streams. I'm like, guys, like,
no, it's the time. Yeah, no,
it's
I can't even get over those conversations. Just like dinner table conversations with your family are so interesting because so many different kind of genres of music and so many kind of avenues of promotion. I can't even imagine, man. That's so sick.
I'm telling you, like, just the leap in technology since, myself being a kid, I can't imagine, what my dad has seen from going to cassettes to now this. Like, I remember him playing me their demos and unreleased music on CDs.
Mm-hmm.
And, back in 2006, 2007, he's like, hey, what do you think? And we'd play him in the car and listen to him. And now, how far we've come. It's crazy. And he is still relevant. They're still at the forefront of it all. Like, if anything, he's still teaching me. I'm trying to teach in some aspects, but he's Yoda. I don't know what to tell you.
Absolutely. No, for sure. After this interview, I think me and you officially have become team larger than life because that is my favorite. That's my favorite one.
No doubt.
I think if we ever do future interviews, that's what we have to do. But, Family Legacy is going to be premiering on Paramount Plus April 25th. There's going to be a lot of cool things, a lot of amazing stories. It's such a fun docu. It also hits very hard, too. There's a lot of emotional stuff in this documentary that people are going to see. Yeah. Baylee, thank you so much for your time. It was really great chatting with you, man.
Of course. It was great chatting with you, too, man.
Instagram, Baylee Littrell, right? They could just find it, right?
Yes, Baylee Littrell _music.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, this has been Pop Turn. YouTube.com/Pop Turn for previous episodes. Look out for Family Legacy Tuesday, April 25th on Paramount Plus. Till next time, it's Baylee Littrell and PD Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.